Channel 14 on the Clubs Network. My name is Giovani Trinidad.
And I'm Monica Testanides. Today we will be having a throwback back to World War II, and we will be describing and talking about the different aspects during the time of the war, ranging from the battles in the war to the movies and famous actors that participated in the war.
Now we move on to Samantha Sanders as she describes one of the most important battles during World War II.
Welcome back. Now on to the Battle of Iwo Jima. It took place on February 1945. The capture of Iwo Jima was part of a three-point plan the Americans had for winning the war in the Far East. The purpose for taking over, it was America's desire to finally destroy Japan's merchant fleet so that the Japanese mainland could not be supplied from the food-rich sectors of the Southeast Asia which Japan still had control over. Iwo Jima was a very small Pacific island, just over 4.5 miles long and 2.5 miles wide, which lies at the foot of the Bonin chain of islands, south of the main Japanese island of the Honshu. Despite the size, though, Iwo Jima was considered to have great tactical importance. There were two airfields on that island. Under Japan's control, they could be used by Japanese fighter planes to attack American bombers on their flights to Japan. But if it was under American control, the airfields could be used as emergency landing bases for damaged airplanes in the bombing raids. They could also be used for American fighter planes to escort the bombers as they needed smaller runways to take off. All of this was led by Admiral Chester Nimitz. The first day of the landing was February 19th, 1945. However, the Americans had cut the island into two by the end of the first day. On day two, the Marines attacked Mount Surbachi. Here they found the fanatical Japanese defense, and Surbachi was taken on February 23rd. After 3 days of fighting, Iwo Jima proved a difficult and bloody target to take. Frequently, the Americans only advanced at several hundred meters per day. By March 11th, the Japanese were trapped in an area around Kitano Point, the island's most northerly extremity. By March 16th, the island was declared secure, and all resistance had ceased by March 26th. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam, for that excellent report.
It off to Andrielle, who is at a Japanese restaurant right now, who will speak to us about the Japanese minority.
When the Japanese came to America, the things we realized were food, and what better than sushi? So, Japanese are minorities. They were minorities during World War II, and America was a melting pot, attracting individuals and families from all over the world. The country offers safety and a chance for a better life, but this opportunity ends when your country becomes an enemy. On December 7, 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. From this moment, the Japanese were condemned. They were already minorities, totaling about 127,000, 0.1% of the population, and majority of the country did not attempt to defend them. They were classified as 4C, enemy alien draft, unfit for draft. They were unwanted by the army and feared by society. They were segregated against everywhere they went. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed the Executive Order 9066 on February 19, 1942, beginning the Japanese-American internment. Over the course of the war, approximately 120,000 Japanese Americans who lived on the west coast of the United States involuntarily removed from their homes and interned. The U.S. Army guarded the 10 plants, all located in America's wastelands, mostly in the west. The internments were based on the race or ancestry rather than activities of the interned. Families, including children, were interned altogether. Decades later, the Civil Liberties Act of 1988 officially acknowledged the fundamental violations of the basic civil liberties and constitutional rights of internment. In 1943, the Japanese American soldiers from Hawaii joined the 100th Infantry Battalion of the United States Army. The battalion fought in Europe. In 1944, Ben Kuroki became the first only Japanese American in the U.S. Army Air Force to serve in combat operations in the Pacific Ocean Theater of World War II. That same year, the U.S. Army's 100th Battalion merged with the all-volunteer Japanese American 442nd Regimental Combat Team. So, the military service quietly recruited Japanese Americans to serve as translators, interrogators, communication investigators, and infantrymen. In addition, President Roosevelt approved the formation of the all-volunteer segregated Japanese unit, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, of approximately 3,000 members for the European and Asian theaters. By war's end in 1945, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team was awarded 18,143 decorations, including 9,486 Purple Hearts, becoming the most decorated military unit in U.S. history. However, a total of 33,000 Japanese Americans, men and women, served in the armed forces, 800 of them making the ultimate sacrifice. These Japanese were volunteering for a country they showed great loyalty to, but received less than they deserved. And the Japanese attempted to appeal to the U.S. They put up signs over the restaurants saying, "I am American." And although they had relations to their homeland in Japan, they felt that America was their country. They placed their hearts and loyalties to the lives they created for themselves in the United States. Back to you guys.
Now we'll send it off back to Sam for operations.
Now we're going to talk about one of the operations during World War II. It's called Operation Fortitude. The code name was Bodyguard, and it was during the buildup of 1944. It was led by General Dwight Eisenhower, and the objective was to ensure the Germans would not increase troop presence in Normandy by promoting the appearance that the Allied forces would attack in other locations. The Fortitude was split into two parts, north and south, both with similar aims. Fortitude North was intended to convince the German High Command that the Allies, staggering out of Scotland, would attempt an invasion of occupied Norway. Fortitude South employed the same tactic, with the apparent objective being Pas de Calais. The operation was one of the most successful military deceptions employed during the war and arguably the most important. Fortitude South. France was the crux of the Bodyguard plan. As the most logical choice of an invasion, the Allied High Command had to mislead the German defenses in a very small geographical area. The Pas de Calais offered a number of advantages over the chosen invasion site, such as the shortest crossing of the English Channel and the quickest route into Germany. As a result, the Germans fell for the plan and immediately fortified the coastline. Fortitude North, on the other hand, by threatening any weakened Norwegian defense, the Allies hoped to prevent or delay reinforcement of France. Following the Normandy invasion, the plan involved stimulating a build-up of forces in northern England and political contact with Sweden. The tactics used during this was double agents, which were used throughout the war to feed German intelligence, a misleading picture, and particularly in the pre-invasion period, misleading information about invasion preparations. Reports sent by these agents were carefully composed and coordinated to support the view of forces in the UK the Allied deception planners wished to present. Another was wireless traffic. It was to mislead the enemy. Wireless traffic was created to stimulate actual units. And another, controlled leaks of information through the diplomatic channels, which might be passed on via neutral countries to the Germans. And last, the physical deception, to mislead the enemy with non-existent units through fake equipment, such as dummy landing crafts, dummy airfields, and decoy lighting. Thank you.